Host. So, Apple's dropped the M4 iPad Pro, and boy, did the headlines go wild. Desktop-class power. Revolutionary display. The ultimate professional tool. They even managed to make it the thinnest Apple product ever. Pretty impressive, right? But here's something to chew on. The 13-inch model starts at a price that's well into premium laptop territory, and that's asterisk before you even think about adding the essential Magic Keyboard or the shiny new Apple Pencil Pro. So, the big question, the one that burns brighter than its admittedly gorgeous new screen, is this. Is the M4 iPad Pro actually for professionals? Or is it just an incredibly well-made, super expensive toy dressed up in a work uniform? Host. Look, we're not talking about just firing off a few emails or taking some nice-looking notes. We're talking about the real, everyday, intense grind. Can this thing really handle your complex video edits, your beefy multi-layered design files, your crucial client presentations, those intricate spreadsheets, basically your entire business workflow, day in and day out, without making you want to launch it into orbit? That's what we're here to figure out. 1. Defining professional in 2025 ** host. Now, professional. That's a pretty wide net, isn't it? For this review, let's zoom in on a few key groups. First up, the creative pros, graphic designers, illustrators, photographers, video editors, musicians. These are the folks whose work really depends on a top-notch display and tools that feel like an extension of their hands. Then, we've got the business and productivity crowd. The road warriors, the execs, the project managers, people who need to draft documents, build killer presentations, manage teams, and stay connected without a hitch. And finally, we'll also touch on those in specialized fields, think architects or researchers, who might see the iPad's unique shape and feel as a potential game changer. Because, let's be honest, what's a dream for a digital painter could be a total nightmare for a data analyst. 2. The undeniable hardware prowess M4 and display host. Alright, let's get one thing straight. This M4 iPad Pro is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to raw hardware. That new M4 chip? It's built on some fancy second-generation 3nm tech and gives a serious boost in CPU and GPU performance over the old M2. Apple's claiming up to 1.5 times faster CPU performance. For pros, this means things should feel smoother when you're juggling apps. Renders in something like Final Cut Pro for iPad should be quicker, and it should handle more complex projects without choking. Plus, if you splash out for the 1TB or 2TB storage models, you get 16GB of RAM, which is a big deal for those really demanding apps. And then there's the display. Oh, that display. Apple calls it the Ultra Retina XDR with tandem OLED technology. What that means in plain English is they've stacked two OLED panels to get incredible brightness. We're talking up to 1000 nits full screen and 1600 nits peak for HDR stuff. And a contrast ratio that'll knock your socks off. For creative pros working on color-critical tasks, like editing photos in Lightroom or grading video, this display is genuinely something special. Deep blacks, vibrant, accurate colors, the works. Even if you're trying to use it outdoors, visibility is fantastic. If you're an architect reviewing detailed blueprints or a designer showing off high-res renderings, this screen is built to impress. And yeah, it's thin. Seriously thin. The 13-inch model is just 5.1 millimeters. That makes it the thinnest Apple device ever. It definitely makes it easier to carry around, slip into a bag, and take to site visits or client meetings. This thing just feels great to hold and use. 3. Tools of the trade accessories and connectivity host. Of course, for many professionals, the iPad Pro experience isn't just about the tablet itself, it's about the accessories. The new Apple Pencil Pro has some cool new tricks like barrel roll and squeeze gestures, which could really speed things up for artists and heavy note takers, making it feel even more natural. It's super responsive, and features like hover detection are still a nice touch. The Magic Keyboard got a redesign too. It's thinner, lighter, has an aluminum palm rest now, and finally, a function row. This definitely makes the iPad feel more like a traditional laptop. The typing experience is solid, and the trackpad is as good as ever. And this is a big but, these are pricey add-ons that jack up the total cost quite a bit. And get this, your old Magic Keyboard and Apple Pencil too? They won't work with this new iPad Pro. Ouch. When it comes to plugging things in, that Thunderbolt USB-C port is still your main option. It's great for connecting to fast storage, perfect for offloading massive video files or photo libraries, and it can drive an external display up to 6K. That's a must-have for pros who need more screen space. However, it is still just one port on the device itself. And some folks have pointed out it only supports that single external display at 60 Hz, which might be a downer for gamers or anyone wanting higher refresh rates on their big monitors. 4. The creative professional's dream machine? Host. So, for creative professionals, does the M4 iPad Pro live up to the hype? On paper, and in a lot of real-world uses, it gets incredibly close to being a dream machine. That M4 chip just eats demanding tasks for breakfast. Editing 4K video in Final Cut Pro for iPad is surprisingly smooth, and apps like Procreate and Affinity Designer absolutely fly. Photographers editing in Lightroom will love the raw power and that stunningly accurate display. I've even heard from one user who's now doing almost all their editing on the M4 iPad Pro because of the performance jump. Combine the Apple Pencil Pro with the promotion display's 120 Hz refresh rate, and you've got an incredibly fluid, natural drawing experience. For illustrators, digital painters, and photo retouchers, this is where the iPad Pro truly sings. The color accuracy means what you see on screen is pretty darn close to what you'll get in your final print or output. However, it's not always a walk in the park. Some professional apps, while they work on the iPad, might not offer the smoothest workflow compared to their Mac versions, or they might be missing a few key features. For instance, some users find Final Cut Pro on iPad, while definitely capable and getting better with plugin support, still isn't as intuitive or as quick to use as editing on a Mac. 5. The Business and Productivity Gauntlet Host. Alright, let's switch gears. What about business and office professionals? The M4 iPad Pro makes a compelling case, though it comes with a few compromises. Its extreme portability is a massive win. Tossing it in a bag for meetings, travel, or presentations. Effortless. With the Magic Keyboard, it can absolutely handle document editing in Pages or Microsoft Word, crafting presentations in Keynote or PowerPoint, managing emails, and taking tons of notes. Apple says you'll get up to 10 hours of battery life for web browsing, and many users find it can last a typical workday for lighter tasks. Some even report excellent standby time, which is great. But if you're really pushing it with heavy professional use, screen brightness cranked up, constant multitasking, that 10-hour figure can start looking a bit optimistic, sometimes dipping to 5 or 6 hours. That's definitely something to keep in mind if you're often away from a power outlet. The arrival of Apple Intelligence with iPad OS 18 could also give productivity a shot in the arm. Things like AI-powered writing tools, summarization features, and a smarter Siri could streamline a lot of common business tasks. The Notes app has seen some really neat improvements too, with Smart Script for better handwriting, live audio recording and transcription, and even math notes for solving equations right in the app. And it's a pretty significant, but the software situation for specialized business tasks can still be a bit of a roadblock. Sure, the big players like Microsoft Office and Google Workspace are there, but certain industry-specific desktop applications just don't have an iPad version, or their mobile counterparts are watered down. 6. The elephant in the room iPad OS in mid-2025 host. And that brings us, inevitably, to iPad OS. Now, as of mid-2025, iPad OS 18 has rolled out, and it's brought some welcome improvements. We've got more home screen customization, an updated control center, and a redesigned tab bar in apps that makes navigation a bit easier. Apple Intelligence is baked in, offering those new writing and summarization tools we talked about. Stage Manager, Apple's shot at more desktop-like multitasking, has also seen some updates. External display support is supposed to be more seamless, and window resizing more fluid. You can group apps into different stages and drag and drop stuff between them. However, even with these steps forward, for many professionals, iPad OS is still the main sticking point when they're thinking about the iPad Pro as their primary work machine. File management, while definitely better than it used to be, still isn't as flexible or as intuitive as macOS or Windows if you're dealing with complex project structures. Real, unrestricted windowing and the ability to have as many app windows open as you need, just like on a Mac. That's still on the wish list for a lot of people. App limitations are still a thing too. You're often using mobile versions of powerful desktop software. And while these mobile apps are capable, they might not have the full feature set or the plugin support you rely on. If you're a developer, an engineer, or a financial analyst who depends on specific desktop-only applications or complex multi-monitor setups with unique software interactions, iPad OS can still feel pretty limiting. It's a fantastic companion device for many, no doubt. But a full laptop replacement? That's where the debate really heats up. Some tasks are just plain easier on a Mac. 7. The intense daily grind, test realities and trade-offs post. So, let's circle back. Can the M4 iPad Pro really handle that intense daily grind? For certain professionals, the answer is a cautious yes. An illustrator who spends their entire day in Procreate, a photographer doing on-the-go edits in Lightroom, or a musician using Logic Pro for iPad might find it not just capable, but actually a joy to use. But when we talk about the grind, we also have to think about ergonomics and using it for hours on end. Working for 8 hours straight on an iPad, even with the Magic Keyboard, can feel pretty different from working on a dedicated laptop. And then there's the cost. It's a major factor. A fully kitted out M4 iPad Pro. We're talking 1 terabyte of storage for that 16 gigabytes RAM, the Pencil Pro, and the Magic Keyboard, can easily cost more than a very capable MacBook Pro or a high-end Windows laptop. You really have to ask yourself, is the touch interface and portability worth the potential workflow compromises and that premium price tag? For many, the M4 iPad Pro will be an incredibly powerful secondary device, a brilliant tool for specific tasks, for travel, or for creative work. But as the one and only primary work machine for all professionals, across all industries? That's where the trade-offs start to become really clear. The MacBook Air or Pro, with the flexibility of macOS, more ports, and often better sustained performance under heavy, prolonged loads, thanks to better cooling, still feels like the more practical choice for a wider range of professional workflows. 8. The verdict: who is the M4 iPad Pro really for? Post. So, after all that, is the M4 iPad Pro really for professionals? Yes, it absolutely can be. Especially for creative professionals who live and breathe a touch-first interface and need a best-in-class display and stylus experience. Artists, designers, illustrators, and photographers who can build their workflow around powerful iPad apps will find an incredibly capable, portable, and often delightful tool. Architects who need to show off renderings or make notes on site will also see some serious benefits. Musicians, too, can definitely leverage its power for mobile recording and production. For business professionals who put a premium on ultimate portability for presentations, document management, and staying in touch, and whose software needs are pretty well met by the iPad OS ecosystem, it's a very strong contender, especially with the latest iPad OS improvements. However, for those pros who lean heavily on specific desktop-only software, need to perform complex file system gymnastics, require extensive multi-window and multi-monitor flexibility beyond what Stage Manager currently offers, or for whom the total cost is a primary concern when stacked up against traditional laptops, well, the M4 iPad Pro, despite its immense power, still has its limitations. The Pro name is justified by its hardware chops and its potential within specific Pro workflows, but iPad OS, even its 2025 version, means it's not quite a universal professional laptop replacement. Not yet, anyway. It's an amazing piece of tech, arguably the best tablet ever made. But whether it's the right professional tool for you really boils down to the nitty-gritty of your daily grind. Post. Now, I want to hear from you. Are you a professional using the M4 iPad Pro? What's your experience been like? The good, the bad, the frustrating? Could this device genuinely replace your main work computer? Drop your thoughts and tell me about your professional workflow in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to hear how it's working out for people in the real world. And hey, if this breakdown was helpful, do me a favor and give this video a like. And maybe consider subscribing for more in-depth tech analyses aimed at professionals like you. Host. So, to wrap it all up, the M4 iPad Pro is, without a doubt, a professional-grade piece of hardware. It's incredibly powerful, looks stunning, and for a certain slice of the professional world, it's a transformative tool. But the question of whether it's for professionals isn't a simple yes or no. It's more of a yes if your workflow plays to its strengths, if you can work with or around the limitations of iPad OS, which are improving, but still there, and if the price makes sense for the value it brings to your specific professional life. For many, it'll be the ultimate creative canvas and a hyper-portable powerhouse. For others, the trusty laptop will continue to rule the roost for that all-encompassing daily grind. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more tech challenges, future experiments, and real talk from TechWave 65.